What's with companies desperately needing people, but then ghosting applicants? I've applied to over 30 different positions at multiple companies that have claimed they desperately are needing people. And I've been ghosted every single time, either completely or I'm told that we've already filled the position, weeks or even a few months afterwards. What's up with that? Do they actually need people or not? And if they do, then why the heck are they ghosting applicants and not giving them a chance? I know it's not just me they're doing this to either. We're desperate to hire. PLZ apply today. Quote, I would like to earn a living wage to work for you. No, not like that. I think part of the problem is online boards like LinkedIn and Indeed. We recently had a position to fill and the company pushed the opening to LinkedIn. I was reviewing 20-30 plus applications a day. So if you found the opening and applied a week after it was posted, your resume was already on a stack of 200. Desperately needing people implies that they have an immense amount of growth that is basically a given if they could just solve their staffing issues. This level of perceived growth potential changes people's perception of company value and success in a kind of gray area where they are clearly intending to mislead, but never actually doing so directly in a traditional way. This allows for plausible deniability that they specifically manipulated their stock prices, as they often rise when unrealized perceived value is thought to exist. Since most people in charge of running large companies today now receive a large portion, if not a majority of their total financial benefits from stock options, increasing stock values indirectly allows for substantially greater return for their time and interest, and it's hard to claim they are poorly representing the interests of shareholders as they, too, are making money. So the major losers are pretty much just employees, which is how they prefer it as it empowers management. The ghosting is a better representation of the actual labor needs of the company. Posting lots of positions open adds to the PR side of showing the public how much growth they think they'll see if they could just fill those positions. But it's a ruse. And it's a gray area because it's really difficult to say that they absolutely wouldn't hire someone if they just met some ridiculously high arbitrary standard, which makes it difficult to legislate in the first place, even if there was the political will in place to do so. It also comes with the added benefit of wasting job applicants' time, which breeds discouragement too. The process of changing jobs for better pay, allowing for easier wage suppression on a large scale, which again benefits upper management due to a typically correlated increase in stock value for keeping labor costs lower than expected. They are searching for desperate workers. Once they find one, they might hire them. And if they work out, they will fire someone who has been asking for a raise. Welcome to the job hunt in 2023. Also, they lie about needing jobs while showing stockholders they are 120% profit. They are showing profit from killing staff right now. Also, hiring doesn't mean hiring here in the US. Lots of companies are hiring, but in India where labor is much cheaper. I believe that the jobs don't even exist in the first place. The job posting exists as a way to justify the narrative of no one wants to work. Some of those job listings are just HR bitches trying to look busy or desperate recruiters trying to meet their monthly quota. We're desperate for slave employees! Exclamation mark. Quote, I would like to add my 2 cents. Just this week I was supposed to have a telephone interview with USC. Yes, that USC. The institution. The recruiter was 25 minutes late calling me. Interview planned at least a week in advance at a specific time that they had set up. So this was on them. And not on me. And then he began to act squirrely 2 sentences into the conversation. Upshot: I had a barely 5-minute conversation that focused on my living out of state, which he knew, the need to move across a few time zones in 4 weeks or less, according to him, and finding out that the logistics in the winter months probably won't allow for that. And then decided to tell me, I don't want to waste your time. Actually meaning, I don't want to waste my time. And said he would have to bring this subject up with the team, and get back to me on whether the interview process would proceed, allegedly inferring either that day or the next. That was Tuesday. Now, this many days later, I realized I had been treated unprofessionally. And on top of that, ghosted. Add that to the malaise of piss-poor management structures inside the U.S. One can add USC to that listing apparently. The pandemic has not improved any bureaucracy. Do they actually have an immediate need to fill the job slot? I suspect. Probably not. I also keep in mind that most universities live or die by federal grants. And the chaos in the U.S. House of Representatives, those good old Republicans, may have contributed to the state of uncertainty bills have to pass the Congress so that all the federal agencies have money to operate with. But that is no excuse to treat people professionally during the employment interview process. Will I apply for another USC job in the future if one opens up? I don't think so. They need people to work the jobs. Yes. But those people need money to survive. So they need to pay people money, which is a big no-no. So they continue to need people while hoarding money and lose both, with zero ability to notice any correlation. What they mean is they need slaves. Because they desperately need people who are willing to work for pennies. They want people who will take the absolute minimum they can legally pay. It's what all these companies who say that people don't want to work anymore are doing. Are you using Indeed? Because those are usually old, expired listings. In my experience, have you tried usajobs.gov? For federal jobs, you need a much longer resume for feds, though definitely don't follow that 1 or 2 page rule. I work in HR for the feds. Open mouth smile. In Canada we have this lovely program called Temporary Foreign Workers. In this program, most labor laws don't apply to the foreign workers, especially not minimum wage and overtime laws. In order for a business to be eligible to hire TFWs, they must prove that they diligently tried to hire Canadians and couldn't find any to hire. Once hired, the TFWs, usually from the Philippines and other Asia-Pacific countries, are fully at the whim of the business owner that hired them, as this owner has the power to revoke their work status, which will have them almost immediately deported home. Many times, the business owners will also own rental property near the business location and fill the property to the brim with TFWs, with sometimes a dozen or more workers sharing a small apartment or basement suite. The business owners know that if the TFWs blow the whistle, their ability to deport the workers will take effect way faster than any other government agency would be able to investigate the claims. Almost always the rent the TFWs are paying is deducted from their wages. Canadians have this strange habit of not wanting to work at Tim Hortons or the like for less than minimum wage, or hot bunking with a bunch of coworkers. We encourage you to apply even if you don't fit all of the requirements. Instantly rejected. They need to have a steady supply of human capital to rotate in as they please in order to maintain leverage over the poor. So they are always desperate, but they may decide not to hire you. That's a big reason I'll just be a freelancer for voice acting. You make the wages, then wait for someone to like your auditions. These companies wonder why they go bankrupt constantly at this point. As being one of those applicants who had personally experienced these exact scenarios since last year, I can reasonably say that everything you just said here is very accurate. As a department head in charge of hiring for a dozen employees, I get 3,040 applicants for every position. It's impossible to even get through the list of applicants daily. We do everything through Indeed and have at least 25% of applicants who don't complete the application, or don't fill out the work history or leave references. Our application form specifically states that any applications without this information will be discarded. In addition to this, we also deal with one of 4 confirmed interview candidates being a no-show. We do not have an HR department, so I have to do interviews and hiring myself while doing my own job and covering for those open positions until we make the new hire. It's a sales gimmick, plain and simple. They want applicants. If the applicant doesn't think they have a chance, they won't even apply. If they think the chance is high because the business is desperate, then they'll apply. Everything businesses do in a capitalist society. I've only ever lived in that type, so I can't speak to other types. Is a calculated move to get ahead. From the scumbag tactics of hiring employees to the rare metal they put in their disposable products. I mean, they're only ghosting the rejected applicants. They're still filling the desperately needed positions. Why they ghost them? Who knows? Probably cheap software that does not have a feature where they can send a mass email to everyone in the database that applied. Think there is a disconnect sometimes with the hiring teams and them forgetting they have open position postings on multiple platforms. Direct company websites, LinkedIn, Indeed, contract houses, and communication gets garbled by the time it gets back to the original hiring team. Our job was trying to hire for an inventory position for months and we weren't getting too many responses. Then all of a sudden we were getting flooded with them. When they would come in for the interview, things would go well until the offer was extended and they were confused at the rates. Not sure where the mix-up happened, but from the sounds of it, our company pays the contract house a much higher rate than they relay to the contracted employee. Something like we pay the contract house $35 per hour and the contract employee makes like $15 per hour. I guess one of the contract house people accidentally put $35 per hour to start on the description, and it took a few second interviews with offer letters to realize someone messed up.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.